everybody, just wanted to start a little update video here on the next project that we have going on, which is to paint up these Canadian Infantry, to start getting Canadians involved more and film some battle reports including Canadian Infantry, and then we'll move on to some other forces, but this will be the next one in addition to the Soviets. So we'll be mixing in some battle reports that include some of the scenarios from the Italian campaign, from the campaign book, The Soft Underbelly. And for the most part, we'll be using, I've got a couple of these boxes here. This is a great kit for British and Canadian Army Infantry. The first box, what I've decided to do is just primarily build riflemen, just to ensure I've got enough forces to play, 1,250, 1,500 point games, some even larger ones, just to have all options available. That's not to say that you're not good with just that box, as there's certainly enough parts in there to kit out the complete force. But I prefer to have a little bit more in terms of options. So I've gone with the first box, primarily riflemen. I did build one Bren gun infantryman just to see how that would look. Pretty satisfied with this. Is a great kit. Really like the options. There's enough here to get everything you need happening. And one thing I noticed, the difference between this kit and the kit for the Soviets was that a lot of the weapons had the arms attached, and with kind of fewer options. The Soviet kit is great with all of the options that it does have, but because of that, it's a little bit on the fiddly side. Light machine gun, soldier. I've done NCOs here with the tam o' shanter hat, and a few others here, but primarily all riflemen, just to make sure that I've got enough to go around. And the second box I will be using to all the mortars, submachine guns, light machine guns, that sort of thing, and probably some more riflemen. Now, in terms of paint, what I did is I primed everybody with black, just hardware store black paint. Then what I did is I used this Vallejo U.S. Army olive drab for armored fighting vehicles. You see the AFV right there, and I primed everybody using that. And then what I did is I used a selection of paints. And for highlighting and dry brushing the uniforms, what I've used is this green gray by Vallejo, and I found that worked out pretty well, just to give the right dry brush color, some edge highlighting here and there. And so that's the color I've been using over the main uniform color that I primed everybody with, and so far I'm pretty happy with the results. It doesn't pop out too much, but just enough to give it that worn look. And the ink, the Nuln oil applies well, or any dark tone will work in terms of wash, but that's the one that I use for the dry brushing that I have here, just to finish them off, including Russian uniform for the helmets. I use a mix of khaki from Vallejo here, this khaki, as well as decomposing flesh here from AK, just to take care of all the webbing, that sort of thing. A couple of different browns. I used leather brown here, just for straps and that sort of thing. I also used this dark rust. I decided to go with this for the rifles, and I thought it came out pretty well. Edge highlighting using different lighter browns, mixing with quite often this grimy gray. Now what I did use mostly this grimy gray is I painted all the flesh with that. Then I went ahead and I used Guilliman flesh from Citadel contrast paint, and then just did a light dry brushing with this Barbarian flesh, but you can use just about any decent flesh paint, just a light dry brushing to go over them. Other paints, dark sea gray from AK, and I used the Abaddon black on the boots and glasses and some other things. But I think I'll be going with there's a from AK here, we have this rubber black, which I found really good, and I'll probably switch to that with the boots, and we could take a look next time. For the steel bits, I used lead belcher. I also have an oily steel from Vallejo that I use, but I went with this one for the time being. I just quite simply couldn't find the other jar. And then for the wash, what I used was I washed all of the brown bits, the rifles and whatnot, in the kit with the soft tone from Army Painter. And then for everything else, I used Citadel Nuln oil, which I find to still be a great wash. It fills in pretty nice, and it did a good job with these guys. And I've got some guys that are almost done here. For example, got this fella here, just standard rifleman. What I'm missing is, or what I need to do still, is I need to finish the bases and apply the decals. And there's a strap missing on each one of them that I've got to decide what color green to use on it, because I want it to pop out differently than the other straps that I use the decomposing flesh on. I've got NCO here with with more of the camo helmet. And I just, picked out a few of the highlights there, and I think they came out pretty cool. This is exactly the look that I think I was trying to go for the Canadians, and I think they'll pop out pretty good on the table. And honestly, I just primarily go for a tabletop ready finish for my models, because I find that that way I can get them going. I can usually paint up 10 guys in a couple of nights, and maybe the third night, just finishing them off and getting the bases done, that sort of thing. So I hope to have the whole force, or at least enough to get 1,000 points ready, in a few weeks, probably, definitely past the holidays I should have enough done. Maybe even before then, I'm not sure. It all depends on time. Time is a premium, so that's why I'm, pretty much going. This guy here, he needs the heater on his cigarette just sort of highlighted with a little bit of orange or whatnot, just for a little bit of realism. But that's it in a nutshell. That's the style that I'm going for with these guys, and I think they're coming along pretty good so far. With those colors, I'm going to switch up a few, but this is what I'm looking at for the most part. I can provide another update afterwards with the machine guns, light machine guns, the support group, which I have to paint up with the officers, machine gun, mortar, that sort of thing. And then I'll do another one for the vehicles, Canadian vehicles. Again, I've got to do a little bit more research, but I'm zeroing in on a paint scheme for those. And because they were not necessarily the same as everybody else on the Allied side, but I definitely want to have that sort of that definite Canadian look. And I like the fact that the box comes with the decals. They're awfully small, and it might pose a bit of a challenge for me to get them on. But the decals that come with the box are really cool. There's a variety for different units that actually participated in the 3rd Canadian Division, etc. So I'm going to have to decide exactly which unit is going to receive the majority of these. I've got 2 boxes, not too worried. The only problem is they're very small, and this poses a significant challenge for me to get them on. But I'm going to give it a shot, and hopefully they'll turn out well, and then we can take a look at that and see how that worked out. So there you have it. So far, I've got another 20 guys that are primed and ready to go to sort of batch paint, if you will, and hopefully get them onto the table soon. I'm really looking forward to that. So thanks again, and we'll see you for the next one.